everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight, as always, it's that time again for the new patch notes and me staying up till 5 a.m. to get you guys these patch notes read out so you don't have to. So, let's go! November update, all in black. I mean, black is the best color. I mean, I prefer green, but black, it just goes with everything, so I agree. Maintenance times for Xbox and PlayStation will be November 6th from 2 to 5 a.m. Central Time, 7 to 10 a.m. UTC. Update size for the Xbox, well, all of the Xboxes, 5,300 megabytes. For the PS4, 5,400 megabytes. For the PS5, 1,700 megabytes. For the iOS and Android, it will be 1,000 megabyte plus a 1,690 megabyte update. So, you guys know how it goes on whatchamacallit? On the, God, I can't think of it, mobiles. Good Lord. All right, November, all in black. Up in the top right corner, you have a code to redeem. R6FK1TRKMO at wowslegends.com/code-redeemer. Keep that in mind. Black Friday is upon us. Before plunging in, use the code R6FK1TRKMO to get 5 shadow camos and 2 pirate camos. As usual, here's a quick rundown of what we're bringing this time for those who aren't big fans of reading the patch notes. Well, nobody has to be a big fan of reading the patch notes because I'm here to do it for you. I do the dirty work so you don't have to, folks. Black Friday, new ships and discounts. Fleet battles are coming with an inaugural season. Divine Regent campaign featuring the Heisen or Heisen. I'm not sure which way it's pronounced it. I'm going to go with Heisen. Hola production calendar. What is that? I have no idea. 3 Brawl seasons. I'm thinking of, is Brawls are not the duels. I kind of like the duels. I kind of miss the duels. We'll see what the Brawls are. I forget. British alternate battleships, full access, and more as usual. Okay, here come the Black Friday stats for everybody ready to go. New black ships and sweet deals await. We'll tell you more in a dedicated... Really? I hate that. I hate it. Just tell us in the patch notes so I can let everybody know now. But you can expect a variety of discounts and the arrival of this year's black ships. Headlined by the Tirpitz, aka the Turpits, at the start of the update. I wonder if the Tirpitz Black will have a slight caveat, kind of like the Bismarck Black did. I can't wait to see what that is. The Hololive production calendar. I don't even know what Hololive is, I'll be honest. But it looks like more waifu thingies. At least these ones are mostly fully clothed, so there's that. Out of all of them, I like the purple hair the most. Anyway. And I'm just saying, like, the hair. I don't care about the rest. I'm just looking at the hair. Just the hair. Purple hair. It works. This isn't bad, though. The orange hair, or whatever this is supposed to be, tangerine. Not bad. All right. So, yeah, we will have that. Are you feeling ready for a new calendar and the goodies that it will bring? Our 4-week plus 1 catch-up week Hololive production calendar will give you the opportunity to unlock free commander guises of 4 Hololive production talents. Shishiro Botan, Muna Hashinova, Takanashi Kiara, and Watson Amelia are joining the Legends roster as commander guises. A special article with a breakdown of the calendar rewards is coming soon, so keep an eye out for it on our blog. Please note, this feature is not yet available for the mobile version of Legends. Copyright 2016 Cover Corp. Divine Regent campaign. The new Tier 8 Heisen or Heisen, I'm not sure which, is here. This huge Japanese Tier 8 premium battleship. You know what I was always wondering? when we were going to get another Japanese Tier 8 battleship. You know, I haven't seen a Japanese Tier 8 premium battleship in a long time. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. I think it is ridiculous how many Japanese Tier 8 premium battleships we have. I think at this point, there is more Japanese Tier 8 premium battleships than any other of the battleships at the tier. I think there are more Japanese battleships than there are any other battleships combined. Maybe I'm wrong. Tier 8 premium battleship with hard-hitting guns is the ultimate reward of the Divine Regent campaign, which follows the classic format of 100 milestones over 5 weeks of missions, with the catch-up mechanic enabled. Here's a look at all of the campaign rewards, with and without Admiralty backing. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is it's got 12 guns. So that's the first thing that I noticed. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this. This also appears to be on another Yamato hull. Shocker. Couldn't have seen that coming. So, again, if you go broadside or you over angle, everyone will send you back to port as quickly as possible. I guarantee it. I'm not sure what the guns are. If they're the 410 millimeter guns, then, you know, is what it is. If they are the 460 millimeter guns that we love from the Yamaha and the Musashi, then that makes this thing the most powerful ship in the game right now. We'll see. I have no idea. Anyway, available rewards without Admiralty backing. You get all of this for a total of 15,305 doubloons worth of things. Then, with Admiralty backing, you get all of that, plus you get all of this, including the Tier 7 or Tier 8 premium battleship Heisen or Heisen. Again, I'm going to say both of them to anger everybody, because at least one of them is probably wrong. Anyway, total with Admiralty backing adds up to 75,400 doubloons worth of stuff. The debut of Fleet Battles. Let's go. Fleet Battles are here. You can compete against other fleets in 5-player divisions each, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday during the new update. We'll provide more info in a dedicated article next week. We've also changed the fleet enhancement system. Port of Steel now has additional 4th and 5th upgrade levels, while all other enhancements have an additional 5th level. The upgrade costs have been altered as well, and you will see a new daily wins for oil counter. Oil acquisition has slightly changed. You'll now receive 15 instead of 10 for each daily win, but you'll only receive 10 instead of 20 oil for each obtained crate. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, Aquaman prepares a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because he can't do crap. Training rooms can now be password protected. Okay, interesting. I don't think I've had any issues whatsoever of training rooms being stalked. I don't know. Meaning that you can be specific about who can join you in any rooms you create. Fair enough. This feature is not yet available for the mobile versions of Legends. British alternative battleships full access. The arrival of the Tier 8 Duncan heralds the full availability of the new line of Royal Navy battleships in the tech tree. Go research them. The mix of big guns, high speed, and new turning torpedoes offers unique gameplay possibilities. If you want to know more about them, look no further. Brawl! It's time to fight! 3 seasons await you with tweaked rules for each, including the return of no torpedo destroyer fights. The first season for Tier 6 cruisers starts on November 20th, and we will take a detailed look at each Brawl season closer to this date. Mobile! There are some truly awesome rewards for mobile players in this update. For upgrading from the Slim to the full version of the client, the exclusive reward is an American Tier 2 premium cruiser, Charlestown M. I'm assuming the M is for mobile. You guys get your own unique ship. Look at this. Isn't it cute? I'm not going to lie to you guys. That camo, pretty sick. I ain't going to lie. I'm kind of jelly. I wish we get some of these type camos for other ships and regular Legends. Come on now. Give us some art department. Come on. Make it happen. I want some new fresh camos out there for our regular stuff. Also though, not excited about the waterline. This, I feel like this should go below the waterline a little bit so that it doesn't ever like just cut off. But y'all, nitpicky. Still a nice camo. I like it. For 7 days of logging in, not necessarily in a row, the reward is German Tier 3 Premium Battleship Vonderton. I hope I said that correctly. I don't think I could have possibly screwed it up, but you never know. Also, not a bad looking camo. Don't like this as much as the last camo, but it's clean. I don't hate it. It's not overly done. I like it. Please note, we know a lot of you want to get your hands on her, so we'll be distributing this ship in upcoming updates to console players as well. Wait. What? I'm hoping that they're talking... Okay, hold that thought. Hold that thought. See, the way they were doing this is they were putting this above the pictures. I swear to Lord, if they're giving out to Yamato to just everybody at this point, I'm gonna lose my mind. I don't like it. I'm hoping that this note is for this picture. Please note, we know a lot of you want to get your hands on her, so we'll be distributing this ship in upcoming updates to console players as well. So I'm hoping that's this, the Vonderton. But the fact that they were putting the notes above the picture here, and then they decide to put this above the Yamato, it's a bit sketch, I ain't gonna lie. But I'm hoping that they're not. That would be idiotic, and God only knows that Legendary tier really can't get that much worse, but this would do it. This would really do it. Prepare yourself for some Legendary damage records coming out. Good Lord. If everybody gets a Yamato, Lord have mercy. There will be damage records falling left and right and center, I promise. The mobile version of Legends now also features specs and overview tabs for ships, as well as a redesigned interface for the battle type selection. Try it out now. New ship of the update, the Japanese Legendary tier cruiser, the Zhao. Ooh, interesting. I do think this could be fun. 20 fast, long lance torpedoes, a high rate of fire, and a lot of damage. This legendary cruiser means business. You can gain access to her via a bureau project that will be available to pick up in the store from December 1st. So another bureau project that you have to buy in the store. I'm assuming it's going to be for silver. It'll probably be a gajillion silver, but if it's a gold one and then they force you to then research it, if it's gold, I'm going to be upset. I ain't going to lie. Because I think that's stupid. If it's in-game currency, then it's whatever. But if it's gold, I'm not a big fan. Balance changes. This time, there are a lot. Schlieffen nerf. Shimakaze nerf. And that's only the start. Read in depth about everything here. We're going to have a part 2 of this. Wait for it. Bug fixes. All platform fixed a bug that caused firing sounds not to play with the Pestilent Varg skin mounted. Console fixed instances of incorrect depiction of newly created training rooms. Mobile fixed an incorrect depiction of bureau projects in cases where there weren't enough resources to acquire them. Other minor updates to the armor models on turrets for Elbing, Dunkirk, and Strasbourg. Okay, Strasbourg. I apologize. Ship traits changed and added. Several ships have had their ship overview traits updated with the new Big and Flammable trait. Congress, Alaska, Grafspee, and Grafspee B had their Big Guns trait replaced with Big and Flammable. Stalingrad had her Flare for Piercing trait replaced with Big and Flammable. Hampshire has had her surgical shell trait replaced with sticky shot. I hate that. I hate the sound of sticky shot. I'm not going to lie. I just don't like the sound of it. Somebody did not think that through. Traits do not impact a ship's performance. They only describe aspects of the ship. For the balance changes made to some of these ships, please see the Ministry of Balance. All of the balance. I can't wait to look into it. We've added the ability to create permanent historical camouflages. You can find the list of ships that can mount these camos in our Ministry of Balance article. Now, if I remember correctly, there's been a couple of people bring this up relatively recently. I know Aaron has talked about it in the past, and Da Fresh Potato has made a second video relatively recently talking about some of the historical camos that just never seem to be available that are in the game. And this, apparently, is the answer. We now get to potentially craft them. You can now melt craftable camouflages down into paint. Type 1, 2, 3, 4 camos as well as Hunter camo all now provide the same bonus to incoming fire dispersion and concealment, minus 4.5% for both characteristics. The campaign menu has been visually reworked. Remodeled the post-battle statistics screen appearance. Take a look for yourself. And choose your favorite content this update and turn the tide. And now with that being said, it's time for the Ministry of Balance. So let's take a look at the Ministry of Balance. A flurry of changes. This update brings a ton of balance changes to some favorites at high tiers and in the feedback channels alike. Monarch gets her Hull B. Stalingrad rear turret firing angles have been improved, and many historical camos are now craftable. We'll go tier by tier this update. We're focusing on the top tiers with nerfs and buffs to several ships. Legendary tier, Schlieffen. German science is the world's finest. Schlieffen has extremely high burst damage and significant early game impact in the battle. We're reducing the damage output of this ship some so that there is more time to react against her in battle. Her main battery reload time increased from 30 to 32 seconds. The secondary battery 150mm guns reload time increased from 8 to 10.2 seconds. That's a bit much. That's a pretty nasty nerf. The secondary battery 105mm guns, aka the fire starters, increased from 3.5 to 4.4 seconds. That's a pretty nasty nerf to her secondaries, but that still leaves her torpedoes and stuff that she's got plenty of. Plus, she's tanky. Like, this isn't going to be that big of a deal, but it's a pretty big nerf. Stalingrad, the once and future king. Stalingrad has fallen from grace over the past couple of years. I wonder why. So we're applying some of the most popular improvements from your feedback to boost the ships to her former glory. Now, keep that in mind. We are applying some of the most popular improvements from your feedback. So, when this thing comes in and starts ruining everybody again, I don't want to hear anybody crying, because you asked for it. First and foremost, the rear turret firing angles for Stalingrad have been improved to allow for firing from extreme angles at long distance. Main battery armor-piercing shell damage increased from 8,000 to 8,800, so a little bit of a buff there. Addition, main battery HE shells. The damage is 4,500 with a fire chance of 33% and a penetration of 51 millimeters. That's kind of crazy. 33% fire chance, 4,500 damage, and 51 millimeters of pen. That seems a bit much, don't you think? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to think. I don't know what the exact stats of all the other Russian cruisers are in terms of, like, I'm trying to think of who else has HE. I think Kronstadt does, right? I'd have to look into it. I'm trying to think of some of the other super cruisers that have HE, but that seems excessive. Obviously, you want the AP whatever possible, but this gives the Stalingrad a little bit of a bonus, as well as being able to help counter destroyers a little bit more effectively. The hit point distribution changed. The bow hit points reduced from 9,800 to 4,900, so she's going to get saturated a little bit easier through the bow. Casemate hit points reduced from 10,600 to 5,300. Superstructure hit points reduced from 11,600 to 5,800. And the stern hit points reduced from 11,600 to 5,800. Basically what they're saying is this thing just got a lot tankier. This thing is going to take some chunk damage early, and then it's just going to seemingly not take any damage. So that's going to be... that's a pretty significant survivability change right there. I ain't gonna lie. Alaska. Alaska has been greatly overshadowed by other legendary tier cruisers. I mean, it's just a DPM thing, right? I mean, you've got all the DPM cruisers out there, so Alaska doesn't really get that. But Alaska is very, very good. I don't think anybody in their right mind would go, Alaska needs a buff. So let's see what they got. Main battery firing range increased from 16 to 16.15 kilometers. That is basically it's not much of a buff of any. I mean, that's the base, but still. Main battery reload time has been reduced by 2 seconds, though. So if you currently have a 16-second reload on your Alaska, you're about to have a 14-second reload. That is nasty. Fire duration increased from 30 to 45 seconds, so she gets to burn a little bit longer, which is going to hurt her against said DPM cruisers that are greatly overshadowing her. By your own admission. I don't know. Weird. But it is what it is. Hull HP and HP distribution has been improved. The ship HP increased from 54,720 to 60,800. I mean, she was already pretty tanky, and now you're giving her more hit points. The bow HP reduced from 7,000 to 3,500, so now you're making her harder to kill. As if the Alaska already wasn't ridiculously tanky. It already has a submerged citadel, makes it very difficult to citadel, unless you've got plunging fire coming in or it's turning towards you and raising its citadel. Casemate hit points reduced from 13,800 to 69. Nice. Superstructure hit points reduced from 7,400 to 3,700. That's huge. That's actually huge. If you've ever seen me annihilate a Alaska using its superstructure with my Montana, you'll know why this is huge. That's massive. And stern hit points reduced from 8,400 to 4,200. Again, I don't know why they're making this thing more survivable. The Alaska's pretty freaking survivable as is, and is already very stingy with giving up citadels. So that's not crazy. I mean, the introduction, I think super cruisers are going to be back in action, to be honest. The sonar was also improved. The duration increased from 96 to 100, so extra 4 seconds. Sonar ship detection increased from 4.4 to 4.9. That is actually an interesting change. So it's got a decent sonar now. Not quite on the range, or not quite up to the range of a German sonar, but decent. Sonar torpedo detection increased from 3.1 to 3.4, so a little bit extra reaction time on torpedoes when you're running sonar. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the main event of the evening. Shimakaze's nerf. Easily the most popular legendary tier destroyer. I wonder why. Shimakaze has also a significant impact in battle. Shocker. So we're making her easier to spot and counter by reducing her concealment. Detectability range by sea from 6.7 to 6.9. That is a 0.2 kilometer increase, which means she's going to go from a 4.9 to a 5.1 concealment. Right? So not a huge change. Everything else, detectability by air goes from 3.35 to 3.5. I don't really think that's going to be much of a change. Detectability while firing in smoke increased from 2.5 to 2.6. Again, don't see that being much of a change. But a 0.2 kilometer, that's the only change they made. That's the only change. 0.2 kilometers more or less concealment. I mean, I don't think this is going to stop anything, let's be honest. I don't. The difference between a 4.9 concealment and a 5.1 concealment is negligible, especially when you're throwing 15 nuclear-tipped demon fish that do 23,000 damage apiece every minute and a half. Just saying. Maybe reducing the alpha potential of those torpedoes would be a step in the right direction of reducing the Shimakaze's overall effectiveness. You can do, or you can increase the reload of said torpedoes. Something along those lines. Okay? Tier 8, Heisen. During the testing of Heisen, we found that she needed some additional help to stand out at Tier 8. So we're increasing her offensive abilities. Now, just in that alone, that tells me she has 410mm guns, most likely. The main battery reload time reduced from 36 to 33.5 seconds. What? That seems excessive. That's worse than the Kansas and the Minnesota. Good Lord. Main battery range increased from 17.18 to 17.38. Main battery shell grouping increased by 2.5% from 1.8 to 1.85. Remember, the bigger the number, the better the accuracy. So keep that in mind. Ship speed increased from 28.2 to 29 knots. Detectability by sea from 15.84 to 15.51. And again, this is without any camos or anything to make you sneakier. Detectability by air from 12.67 to 12.47. Detectability while firing in smoke reduced from 15.4 to 15.15. The Prince Ruprecht, like Schlieffen, Prince Ruprecht has exceptional burst damage potential and battle impact, so we're toning her down again. So the German battlecruiser is essentially the opposite of the Bismarck. The Bismarck has been buffed over and over and over again to the point where it's relevant. The battlecruisers have been nerfed over and over and over again until they're irrelevant. Oh wait, no, that's not. They're still very good. So let's see what they did this time. Secondary battery 150mm gun reload from 8.2 to 8.5. Secondary battery 105mm reload from 3.5 to 4. Okay. The Saint-Louis. Saint-Louis is fairly unpopular as she didn't feel like an upgrade over the Charles Martel. We're increasing her damage output to give her greater presence in battle. Stock main battery reload time from 11.5 seconds to 10 seconds, and upgraded main battery reload time reduced from 10 to 8.5 seconds. That puts her right there in line with like a Wichita in terms of reload speed. So, pretty nasty reload out of the Saint-Louis. All right, Neptune. Neptune sits and that don't forget. I'm pretty sure the Saint-Louis also has reload boosters, so keep that in mind. Neptune sits in an odd spot between the Edinburgh and the Minot. So we're increasing her abilities and concealment to fit in between the two ships a little better. Main battery reload reduced from 5 to 4.5 seconds. Detectability by sea reduced from 12.36 to 12.05, making her much stealthier. Detectability by air reduced from 7.42 to 7.23. And detectability while firing in smoke reduced from 5.99 to 5.76. The Allen M. Sumner. Now, this is one that I knew had to come at some point, because this thing is absolutely ridiculous at the tier. There's no better destroyer at tier 8 than the Sumner. Sumner has been dominating the tier 8 destroyer field, possessing the same or superior abilities to even Gearing. She receives a sizable nerf to reduce her abilities as she currently dominates in almost all aspects of destroyer gameplay. Her upgraded main battery reload has been increased from 3 to 3.5 seconds. Not a huge change, but a decent one. Upgraded torpedo range reduced from 16.5 to 12 kilometers. Okay, so that's actually a pretty big change for those of us who like to do long range zoning torp kind of area denial sort of strikes. Detectability by sea has been increased from 7.04 to 7.12, so not a huge change there. I think normally Sumner has like a 5.1, so you're probably going to go to a 5.15 to 5.2 detectability, I think. So detectability by air from 3.52 to 3.56. Detectability while firing in smoke 2.62 to 2.65. So again, I think the biggest change here is going to be the nerf to the torpedo range and the upgraded main battery reload time being reduced or increased from 3 to 3.5 seconds. That is a pretty significant nerf when you consider that it only has a 3-second reload and you're adding a half a second to it. So pretty significant there. Kazi, by popular request and to improve the upgrade of this ship over Akizuki, Kazi is getting a big buff to her main guns in both damage output and high explosive penetration. Main battery reload reduced from 3.3 to 2.8 seconds. Main battery HE shell penetration increased from 20 to 30 millimeters. Still not enough to go through 32 millimeters, but it's a significant improvement for farming superstructures at least, and maybe side plating. We'll see. Tier 7, the Monarch, is getting a buff, which is kind of surprising to me. She's actually getting her B hull applied, which comes with a series of improvements to her hit points, anti-aircraft weaponry, and rudder shift time. All of this is going to make her ridiculous. Monarch is already a pretty solid ship. It's very underutilized, but it's a very solid ship, very armor-piercing focused compared to other British battleships who prefer HE. Monarch has very good AP, kind of reminds me of like an upgraded Hood, an upgraded Queen Elizabeth or Warspite. Monarch is very good. So to see this getting a buff, getting a ship hit points increase from 53,900 to 60,500. And remember, Monarch is premium, right? So this is just getting applied straight up. Like this is just going to be your new Monarch. Rudder shift time reduced from 21 to 15 seconds. So that's a significant improvement in rudder shift. So that's going to help her big time with the Dreadnought Shovel. And then fire resistance multiplier improved from 0.6667 to 0.6337. Nice. Normal for tier 7 is 0.6667 for stock hulls, and 0.6337 is for upgraded hulls. A lower number means more resistance. Gotcha. Anti-aircraft firepower has been improved, and then minor visual changes. Oh no. No! I don't want it! I'm afraid to look! Please don't reduce my accuracy. I don't mind a little bit longer reload, but please don't change my accuracy. We knew it was coming at some point, guys. Kansas is getting nerfed, and that's probably my fault. Let's be honest. Kansas is getting nerfed because of me. I'll take full responsibility. I apologize to everybody out there. Kansas is a top battleship at Tier 7. Shocker. With exceptional firepower, the accuracy and firepower focused playstyle of the ship is unchanged. Oh, thank God. But we're reducing her damage output to bring her in line with her peers. So her main battery AP shell damage is being reduced from 12,400 to 11,500. And the main battery reload time has been increased from 34 to 35 seconds. These aren't significant, crazy changes. I'd say the biggest change here is for an overpen, instead of doing 1,240 damage for an overpen, you're now only going to get 1,150 damage. If you don't remember how overpens work, overpens are exactly 10% of your damage. So 1,240 to 1,150. But I still don't think this is a crazy change, so I'm glad to hear that the accuracy is still on point. So, whew, we dodged a bullet there. I don't think this is the worst. An extra second on the reload's not going to be that effective, I don't think. So, I'm okay with it. Charles Martel, like Saint Louis, we're improving the damage output of the Charles Martel to improve her standing at Tier 7. This is just a product of, like, power creeps. So, like, when Charles Martel came out, it was dominating. It was absolutely ridiculous. and it stayed that way until it was nerfed. And then everybody stops playing it. And now over time they've buffed it, and now they're buffing it again. So stock main battery reload time reduced from 12 to 11 seconds. Upgraded main battery reload time reduced from 10 to 9.5 seconds. So basically right there in line with a Balti in terms of reload. But remember, Charles Martel gets a reload booster, so that's also a significant thing to remember. San Diego arrived with too many compromises to the ship's abilities, so she could have both SAP and main battery reload booster. This update will improve the ship in several areas to address her shortcomings. Ship hit points increased from 27,900 to 33,500. That's actually pretty significant. The bow hit points increased from 1,300 to 1,600. Auxiliary room hit points increased from 3,600 to 43. Stern hit points increased from 1,500 to 18. Hull HP increased from 20,900 to 25,100. Magazine increased from 14 to 16,800. Steering gears hit points increased from 8,400 to 10,100. Superstructure hit points increased from 2,000 to 2,400. And this engine room hit points increased from 27,900 to 33,500. Main battery SAP shell damage increased from 1,800 to 2,300. Main battery reload time increased from 5.5 to 6 seconds, so a little bit of a nerf there, but a buff to the overall damage output. So I don't know what that would change the DPM to. Somebody would have to do some math. Main battery reload booster duration increased from 15 seconds to 16 seconds. So you get an extra second on your reload booster, probably just to keep the same amount of salvos for a reload booster now that you're getting a slower overall main battery reload. Mogami has been overshadowed by other cruisers at Tier 7, so we're buffing her damage output. HE shell damage increased from 3,300 to 3,400. Main battery reload time reduced from 15 to 14 seconds. Riga has always been an oddball, and now she seems like a low point in the line compared to Tallinn and Petro, while improving the ship's accuracy to make her dispersion more consistent and reliable. We're improving her accuracy. Main battery shell grouping increased by 2.5% from a 1.8 to 1.85. Main battery dispersion improved by 9%. Riga's dispersion becomes the same as normal cruisers. Stock main battery reload time reduced from 16.5 seconds to 15.5 seconds. Upgraded main battery reload time reduced from 15.5 seconds to 14.5 seconds. Secondary battery modification 3 for cruisers. High-tier cruisers with the ability to mount 4th slot modifications now have access to a secondary battery mod 3 if they have secondary battery guns. Historical camos. Historical camos can now be obtained in exchange for paint. Here's a complete list of ships these camos can be mounted on. At Tier 4, we have the König, the Königsberg, or I'll just leave it at that. We're just going to say it the way I would say it. T-22. At Tier 5, we have the Normandy, the La Galicinia, the Gepard, the Bayern, the Mackinson, the Nuremberg, the Gaid, Trento, I'm just going to stop, Avier, the Hatsuharu, Ismail, Bajani, Nevni, Devonshire, Dallas, Rothmut, and the Renown. At Tier 6, the Lyon, the Algerie, the Vauquelin, the Gneisenau, the Prince Heinrich, the York, the Moss, the Zara, Luca Tarigo, the Shiratsuyu, the Sinop, the Shores, the Minsk, the Fiji, the Surrey, the Helena, the Chumphon, and the Rook. And at Tier 7, Le Fantasque, Zeton, Amalfi, Vittorio Cuniberti, Akazuki, Harbin, Vladivostok, Chapayev, the Tashkent, the Albemarle, the Cleveland, the Hawk, the Graf Spee, Kaga, and Saipan. At Tier 8, the Prince Ruprecht, the Lepanto, the Brindisi, the Adriatico, the Kitakazi, the Sejong, the Chungmu, the Smolensk, the Petropavlovsk, if you didn't know what Petro was, Neustrashimi, the Drake, Minnesota, Seattle, and Duncan. And at Legendary Tier, basically everything. The Conqueror, the Bourgogne, the Colbert, the Kleber, the Grosse Kurfürst, the Schlieffen, the Napoli, the Hikuru, I already apologize, Yamato, Yoshino, Shimakaze, the Zhao, the Holland, the Stalingrad, the Henri IV, the Cristoforo Colombo, the Mino, the Daring, the Midway, the Montana, the Worcester, the Des Moines, the Alaska, and the Gearing. That is a lot of new camos out there. So good luck to everybody. And I know this is a long video, but I hope you guys have enjoyed. For those of you who stuck around for the balance changes, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. What is the most significant balance change for you in this update? And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.